The Vikings beat the NFC champions of last year.
Who am I? Justin Herbert or Quinn Bowie? Welcome back to another episode of the BuiBros Football Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Quinn Bowie, and I cheer for the LA Chargers. Across from me, my brother Brandon.
And I cheer for the Minnesota Vikings. On today's episode, we're going to be looking back at the scores, the beautiful scores.
Recap.
And the last of the last two matchups that we each had. So it should be good. We'll be looking at the Vikings versus Niners and the Chargers versus the Panthers. And that should be pretty fun. But yeah, 2-0. Let's do it.
2-0, baby. I can't believe it. Honestly, big surprises in the league, it seems. But thank you so much for joining us. If you do like what you're listening to, please make sure to subscribe to the channel. It really does help us out. Chargers fans, Vikings fans, NFL fans all alike want to build a community. Like the video, hit the notification bell. And Brandon, my goodness, we're both 2-0. Holy hell. What were we worried about, right? Off season. That didn't really work. But yeah, wow, 2-0. First of all, let's start with your win, because in my mind, that was a much more incredible win to be playing the San Francisco 49ers. And on top of that, you got to witness it.
Yes. The San Francisco 49ers are maybe a different class of opponent than the Carolina Panthers. But a win is a win, like you said. Yeah, I was there. I got to see it. I was excited to go watch such a premier matchup. But you're nervous. I was nervous.
Oh my goodness.
How often do I get to make a trip? Maybe once a year is kind of what it's been looking like. So I want to choose a game that is like a guaranteed win, which we did not do this time. And it worked out in our favor. We got to see one of the better wins that we are going to have on the season, you'd think, just based on the opponent. And the opponent, they're no slouch. They won the NFC Championship last year. Did they lose an OT last year too in the Super Bowl? They did.
Yeah, don't bring up the loss for the San Francisco 49ers fans here. But you, like you said, high caliber opponent.
Very high.
You played them. You beat them.
This game had it all. Let's just, this is just off memory. We had a fumble on the goal line, on the 1 yard line by Aaron Jones. Super great. Perfect. We had a blocked punt. We blocked the punt by CJ Ham. We had a 97-yard touchdown from Sam Darnold to Justin Jefferson, both career longs for them. Excuse me. We had a muffed punt that we almost, they muffed the punt. We almost jumped on it. It was kind of unfortunate, but they got it back either way. Super fun to watch. We had Brock Purdy just fumble the ball out of his hands weirdly, which ended up as an interception for us. We had a triple tip drill interception. There was
to your boy Metellus.
To my boy Metellus, that guy was everywhere, man. He was everywhere. It was so fun. The score necessarily wasn't back and forth, but it felt tighter. It says it's 17-23, which is a pretty tight score, a one-score game, just only 6 points. But somehow, it both felt like that's way too close. We were always ahead, but also felt like it was a 1 point game. It was kind of strange in that regard, because there was, without that goal line fumble, we would have been up 17-0, I believe. Instead, they get it back, march down the field, get a touchdown, and now it's 10-7.
10-7, yeah, right before halftime.
Yeah,
it gets real close. I was watching that, and like typical Vikings fan feel, right?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, whoa, we're ahead. Okay, oh, whoa.
Yeah.
This is getting a little too close for comfort now.
The swing of 17-0 to instead be 10-7 is huge. 17 points above, it's like, oh shit, we're crushing. To then only 3 points ahead, like the swing there, the 14-point swing is massive. And so it made it a lot more interesting, honestly more fun to watch. And it was a great time to be there. I didn't miss anything. I didn't go to the bathroom. I didn't go up and get drinks. We got all our stuff at the beginning. I was there the entire time. I didn't leave at halftime, any quarters or nothing like that. It was awesome. The atmosphere was great. There was a decent amount of Niners fans. I'd say it was closer to like a 20%, Niners fans, maybe 25 or something like that. It was a decent.
I think that's pretty standard. Niners fans travel well.
Yeah. And the red stands out, with the purple seats and the purple people, and then there's the red, it really stands out so you can see them. But they were loud at some points. It was nice. Yeah, it was good. It was good. But okay, that's my personal experience. But we could jump into maybe the specifics of the game as a breakdown.
Absolutely. Let's break it down a little bit more.
So yeah, as I mentioned, Niners 17, Vikings 23, Vikings take it. We also had 13 less offensive plays, but that comes from a couple things where, excuse me, we get, I think it was the interception. It must have been the interception to put us, I think it was 15 yards away, and then one play, touchdown. So we have a drive that's a one single play touchdown. Sweet. That's awesome. And then we have a 2-play 98-yard drive. So we had 2 drives that ended with 14 points and 3 plays. So our offensive plays were a little low, which means they get more offensive time, which means our defense is on the field a lot more. So it's kind of a strange thing that we were scoring too fast in certain scenarios that the defense had to go right back out, which is good and bad, right?
Well, in normal sense, absolutely.
Yeah.
But watching your defense play, they were flying out there. This
Unreal.
is incredible. This is before all of the injuries. Obviously, CMC wasn't playing, but like the Niners just incurred quite a big hit. But you played them almost at full strength. The way your defense played, Brian Flores, absolutely 100%.
Gangster.
Give him a round of applause. He's doing his job out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. That was just sweet to see. You see Ivan Pace Jr. I forget what it was. Maybe if you recall, he had a boneheaded play in there. Where I think he caused a penalty. Anyway, if you don't remember, it wasn't that important anyway. At the end of the day, you won.
Right.
But
yeah, there was
nitpicking.
There was a couple. Sam Darnold had this play, and I watched it happen. It was so sad. He's climbing into the pocket, trying to find a way to escape. Maybe there's a way somewhere to throw it. Then there's a clear path that he can run kind of forward to the right. But instead, he wants to kind of drop back into the pocket again, or drop back to throw it to like get by himself some more time. And he turns to drop back a bit further. And there's a guy coming. I think it was Nick Bosa, right behind.
One of his 2 sacks.
Oh, just coming right from behind. And Darnold he didn't know he was there and just turns sack instantly. And I was like, oh, like you had the room to you just had to run. And that was one of the bonehead moves I saw him make. And it's maybe not bonehead because you don't know he's there, whatever. But it was kind of sad to see. He had such an opportunity, and I don't remember the down or the distance. But anyways, yeah, there was that too. I don't remember the Ivan Pace play. It's hard because there's no announcer to be pointing a lot of things out.
Right.
I didn't even know.
Experience.
Yeah, I didn't even know that JJ went down because on this same play, Nick Bosa went down.
Yes.
And I was watching. I was like, oh shit, that's Nick Bosa. And we were watching Bosa like, oh, you know, and then he kind of got up. And then I was like, oh, there's a Vikings player down over there. And then he was like limping off and you couldn't see the number. And then after he got far enough away, it was 18. I was like, what the fuck? That's Justin Jefferson. I've been so worried about Nick Bosa here that I didn't even, you know. And Nick Bosa just jogged off the field. He was totally fine.
Hey, Jets says he's okay.
Yeah, right? Yeah, he's good. Quad contusion. Yeah, thigh bruise.
But like, what's going on with Nick Bosa? That's another story. I don't see anything quickly.
He jogged right off. He looked totally fine.
Right. Yeah, man. Hey, beast, that guy. I want to ask you though, because there is one play that just absolutely in my mind would have lit up that stadium.
Oh yeah.
And that was, like you said, the career longs for both Sam Darnold and Justin Jefferson. Watching that, it was out of the blue, like crazy luck that I was actually switched over to the Vikings, and I see you guys, Sam Darnold dropping back in your own end zone.
Yeah.
Launch, and you're like, okay, take a shot, but no. And then on top of that, you know, walk me through it, man. Walk me through it.
He throws it, and as soon as he throws it, you see it's a deep shot. So then you look over, and you see Jets running. And then it was in the air for so long that I had like three thoughts. I was telling Carly, it was, is it too far? Is it going to make it to him?
Yeah.
Is Jets going to catch it? Right? It was like, okay, it's way up in the air. Is it going to be too far? Shit, doesn't make it. If it is there, is he going to catch it? If it's too short, is he going to catch it and get tackled instantly? You know, and it was just like, huh. And then he catches it full in stride, and you're like, oh, damn. But you can tell he's not going to make it. So you yell. My voice was done after this play, by the way. You're screaming because he caught it. Sweet. And then he's running, and then you start yelling again after he does this little, you know, janky cutback that he did. You're screaming again because like, oh, maybe he has a chance. But you can't really tell. And then you're screaming like a third time, all in one time at, you know, albeit.
Right.
It was crazy. And then once he gets in, it was just like the place lit up. The place was already lit up, but it was like three. It was like, holy shit, you know, like, and that was wild. I'm so happy that we got to see that because and Jets himself mentioned that's a play that you dream of getting, you know, like you dream of a 95+ yard touchdown. And so I got to see it, so that's cool.
Yeah, so cool.
Because
like the peripheral storylines of it all too, with him before the game talking about the Niners defense and their defensive backfield. It's like, with due respect, and I believe I'm paraphrasing, with due respect, I'm not Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, that was so.
Yeah. Anyway, so. Like, big statement to be made. Like, he is putting himself in that upper echelon, and then he goes out there and actually shows, like,
so sick,
legit. Like, I walk the walk. It's not just talking the talk. Wow, unbelievable.
Yeah, I think it was an interview, and a question was, hey, like, do you see what they did to Garrett Wilson last week, and then kind of learn anything from that? And and what he said was, respectfully, I'm not Garrett Wilson. And it was a pretty respectful thing to say. It was a headline, but it was the way he said it was quite nice.
I definitely didn't read it in a negative tone.
Yeah, it was.
I definitely could see if Garrett Wilson only read the headline.
Yeah, exactly. Right? So someone asked him about Garrett Wilson specifically, and then his response was, "I'm not Garrett Wilson. Teams play me completely different than the way they play most receivers, if not all receivers, right?" So it's just, hey, I got man-to-man coverage, but the safety's also right there, you know, like that's kind of the coverages that he gets, and that can help our team in many ways. It could also be quite devastating for JJ, but he's, you know, he says that he's good enough to beat him, and he does it. He beat the corner and then blew right by the safety. So he did it, and it was a perfect play. It was just too good. And even on that play, Jalen Naylor, they call him Speedy.
I was gonna say,
dude, he was so fast getting there. I didn't even
give
notice
up
him
on
live.
that play. Didn't give up on that at
He's such
all.
a gangster. Such a gangster. I'm not sure if it was fully needed, but it doesn't matter if it was or wasn't. The effort was there,
Exactly.
and he was
there.
there for his teammate, and so that was awesome to see. All of it was so cool, man. It was just like, when am I gonna get to see a play like that again? And again, such a great team. Like that play is 7 points, 6 points, and we won by 6 points. We might not drive, like if that doesn't happen, it's now third and 9.
Drive 97 yards.
Yeah, exactly, right? So maybe we have to punt it, and then who knows what happens, right? So it's such a huge, not swing in momentum necessarily, but huge play, game breaking play. Yeah, momentum builder for sure. It was just, it was so good. So,
man,
it was awesome.
Yeah, crazy good play. Bring it down a little bit. How does it feel that JJ and Jalen Naylor were so slow compared to that referee? Because, my goodness, you see that guy and his gazette, it was just going at it. That was crazy.
That guy was fast. You could tell JJ was like running out of gas, but he had the afterburners on to keep him, at a steady pace. Jalen Naylor was so fast. That ref, I don't know where he started.
Right.
But still. Holy, that guy was fast.
When it mattered.
Yeah, coach said he showed everybody and was like, "What are you guys doing? This guy's beating you," and they all had a good laugh about it. But
there's the walk-on tryout right there.
It was it's just, and play like that, and then the gritty for the home crowd. It was just, everything was just fun, especially after that. Like we were talking about that play the whole game, about how lucky we were to watch that. And so it was special for sure. Definitely special. I don't know. I guess that's my wrap up for the week. It's just my own personal experience. We can go with that for the recap of this 100%. Game.
And the cherry on top is that you went with a couple of Niners fans.
I did, yeah. I took my friend, he obviously paid his own way, but we went with a friend of mine who's a newer fan, and this was his first ever NFL game, and so there wasn't too much trash talk going on. What's that?
In your face, you chose the wrong team.
In your face, buddy. Well, it seems like we always do really well against the Niners, so that's kind of fun. But I think for him, it was a really good game because it was close, and there was plenty of plays on both sides that were fun. And then it was a great atmosphere in there for an opposing fan too. So it was a great first game, I think, for him. Obviously, them getting the win would have been better, but like, we don't care about that. We got the win, so it's all good, right?
We don't care about that. We don't care. Niners lost. They sucked. They took trivia. When did Brandon Ayuk get his first catch?
Oh my God, it was so late. We were talking about it, and I was like, this guy hasn't been... It must have been, like, late in the third, or it was definitely in the second half, for sure, though.
Yes. I think around that 5-6 minute left in the third mark.
Dude, it was so... And I feel like he got maybe 2? I don't remember another one, honestly.
Yeah, it's not a whole lot. Not a whole lot, because he's on my fantasy team, and he got me Jack.
Dude, Vikings D's legit. They're so good. I saw a breakdown where it had all the safeties, all the linebackers, all the corners on the line as if they're going to blitz. And then the caption was, this is how Brian Flores shows you Tampa 2, which is covered like a version of cover 2 defense. Full 2 safeties backed zone. And it was just like, it looked nothing like what you would think it would look like. And that's his specialty, is disguising his looks and having a defense that you cannot read. And Purdy said after the game that it was freaky, or I can't remember the word that he used, but he described it in a similar way. So it's good to hear from an opposing quarterback. I'd like to hear what Kyle Shanahan has to say. I should actually watch his interview on the game to see what he maybe he mentions our defense. I'm sure that he would. So
I'm sure he absolutely would. That's interesting. I was reading today, and there seems to be a lot of people under the belief that the league has been an offensive league for so long now, and it seems that the tides may be turning. How the turntables
exactly,
and defenses, the running game, becoming more important.
I have been thinking that because you can even just look, and after 2 weeks, Purdy is the passing leader with 550.
Yeah, Baker Mayfield, I'm pretty sure, is like right behind there.
Yeah,
Derek Carr,
dude. No, but I don't mean the quarterback specifically. I just mean 550 yards over 2 games isn't really that high. Like,
no,
someone could have had a lot of people have 400 passing yard games, Yeah. And so it's strange that over 2 games, 550 is the highest. And so I've been thinking that too, especially with like the Patriots running the ball so hard. I haven't seen jack about Brissett at all. I haven't seen it mentioned. And the Patriots are doing, pretty decent off just that run game, 180 some yards, almost 200 the last game. So yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting to see, they're figuring out these offensive schemes possibly, and it's always a balance, right? Year after year. So
how crazy the offenses are in 2024, and crazy is not necessarily a positive thing, but I'm not sure if you saw this. The year is 2024. Derek Carr is statistically the best passer in the league. Gardner Minshew has the highest completion percentage. The longest TD of the season is thrown by Sam Darnold. Baker Mayfield is undefeated and just barely behind Carr. And Kyler Murray just threw a perfect 158 passer rating game.
So sick.
Absolutely bonkers what's going on in the NFL. The offense is slow to get going.
Good for Kyler, hey? Didn't I tell you?
Good for Kyler.
Didn't I tell you that guy's the man? I preached that shit all off season. I need a medal or something.
You need a medal or something. Maybe a medal. But the bigger medal that you may win comes from the team versus team fantasy football. Now we, again, while you wave your techie wand here for a little bit, Brandon and I, going head to head, Chargers versus Vikings, full season accumulative score. Quarterback all the way down through defense and special teams all combined. So that means if your backup quarterback is throwing a pass on a trick play because Kevin O'Connell thinks that he can whoop the Houston Texans next week, that counts for your quarterback. All the way down, defense, special teams, all cumulative. Each week added to this score. Now, last week, Brandon, you were ahead by 20-plus points. And although you are still ahead after week 2, we have here a very close matchup headed into week 3. Your quarterback takes the rankings. Justin Herbert's just not throwing the ball. Hey, no big deal. We're running it. We are running it, and that's where that differential there from running back to running back room in favor of the Chargers. The wide receiver group, pretty close-knit. Tight end group, a little bit to the Chargers. Kicker, Cameron Dicker, the kicker, is pulling ahead there. But I think, your kicker, Reichard, just got his first field goal at the game he just went to. I don't think there was one in the first game. That's what I thought I heard in the announcement. I may be wrong.
That's gotta be... I don't know now. What was the score of the first game? I gotta look at that again.
28-6. Well, yeah, that makes sense. There you go. There's 4 touchdowns. So, yeah, and then your defense. This is what actually blows my mind, is that the Vikings defense in fantasy football is DST number 1.
Oh, yeah, buddy.
DST number 1.
And we just played the Niners. You guys You guys caught up this week, but all due respect, you guys played the damn Panthers. The easiest team in the league to beat. Like, and it's not by a mile.
We beat them so bad they benched Bryce Young.
But did you even beat him as bad as the guys last week or the week before? Who played him the week before?
No, it was, wasn't it the Saints?
Dude,
God.
They have like a minus 70 point differential over 2 games.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. But yeah, you know what? Speaking of that game, why don't you wave your techie wand? We'll get back to this next time, next week, and see where things lie. So after 2 weeks, you pull ahead. But let's get into the Chargers and the Panthers game. But before we do that, if you're still with us, we appreciate it. Thank you so much. If you enjoy what you're listening to, you're a Chargers fan, you're a Vikings fan, or just a fan of the NFL, please subscribe to the channel. Like the video and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any one of these. It really does help us out. Lets us know you like talking NFL each and every day. Alrighty, Brennan. You're 2-0. We're 2-0.
Heck yeah.
The Chargers haven't been 2-0 to start the season since 2012.
Damn.
12 full years that the Chargers have not yet eclipsed that.
That's crazy.
To start the season. Incredible feat for the Chargers. Now, we do have to be we do have to be very conscious about the way that we talk about the Chargers with the first 2 wins, because of course, you know, we beat the Raiders and then we beat the Panthers, like you just mentioned. Raiders turned out to be much more of a formidable opponent than I was anticipating. Yes, there is that divisional rivalry aspect that really makes the teams play each other like way harder than they would any other team.
Right.
But we just saw what the Raiders did against the Ravens. You know, going over to John Harbaugh and the Ravens, what the hell happened there? But the Raiders ended up winning. And that's a huge storyline. Ravens 0-2. Besides the point. So we've won. We've won in our style, but we have true tests coming down our way next week with the Pittsburgh Steelers and the week following Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, it was big 2 weeks.
Big 2 weeks. But in order for those weeks to, you know, seem or be attainable, we had to go through these first 2 weeks. We played the schedule that we're given, and thankfully, we beat our divisional opponent in week 1, and we took care of business against the Panthers in week 2. Now, the Chargers could have definitely fallen into a trap game against the Panthers in years past. That seems like one of those games, like one of those or however many games without a win Cleveland Browns that decided, okay, I guess the Chargers are going to be the one that we get the next win in. We took care of business. Jim Harbaugh is not going to let that happen. I trust that. In Harbaugh we trust, but now we see it. After 2 weeks, they're playing their brand of football, and they're going to continue to do that. I fully believe that this team is ready to go. Going into Pittsburgh, their offense right now, a little bit in shambles. Justin Fields obviously should remain the quarterback. That is the consensus, it seems. But if Russ comes back, you just can't have the reins over. Anyway, offense not doing too well. But the big trouble is that defense, helmed by TJ Watt. That, I don't know. Incredible. We're going to get to that in a little bit. I'm getting sidetracked. My goodness, we're talking about this game here. We whooped the Carolina Panthers. We took care of business. When we look at the score, 26-3, very close to what I was predicting. I think I said 30-6 is what I saw. And there was a moment when it was 23-3. I was like, oh my goodness, there's a chance.
You could do it.
There's a chance. But no, I'm happy with the score. You know, Justin Herbert, a somewhat efficient game, 70% completion, only 130 yards passing, 2 TDs, both to Quentin Johnston. But then he also had the interception. It wasn't a good throw. And then the fumble, which was questionable, but because they called it a fumble on field, getting that definitive proof to overturn, it was tough. But efficient game overall. J.K. Dobbins, after last week, comes in and says, no, I'm not there. I got so much more. Does exactly the same, but I would say even a little bit more, because he had one of those long runs, big 40-plus yard run for a touchdown. He said he was going to train. He was going to be continuing to work on sprints, get faster, make sure that he could outrun the defense next time. He did that. And he had a sweet move. He's running up the sideline there. I believe it was his the Panthers safety coming in. All the safety had to do was push him out of bounds. But Dobbins had this quick stutter step and acted like he was going to go in, which just bought this barely amount of time needed for him to continue and tightrope up the sideline into the end zone to do a front flip. Jim Harbaugh said, nah, I don't mind it. Justin Herbert said, nah, I don't mind it. Our GM, Joe Ortiz, said no more flips. And I'm with Joe Ortiz on this. You don't need to showcase your athleticism anymore. That was awesome. That's sweet. But you cannot get injured. You know the team's history. You know your history. Please, J.K. Dobbins, let's continue, because right now you are the rushing leader in the NFL. How crazy is that? Mm-hmm. We rotate the running backs, and he is still getting it done. 35 carries between the two of them. J.K. Dobbins, 17 for 131, and that touchdown, 7.7 average. Pretty incredible. Gus Edwards, nowhere near efficient. 18 carries. One more than J.K. Dobbins. Only gets 59 yards and 3.3. Now, I will say his grinded out yards helped us in many situations. He picked up first downs. He is very effective. He is that short yardage back. Yeah. So expectations are adjusted. Receiving game. Quentin Johnston, he shows up. He's the highlight. 5 catches, 51 yards, and 2 touchdowns. The first one, beauty. Third down, I believe it was a 3rd and 10 over J.C. Horn, I believe, which is their top corner. Beautiful ball over, and Quentin had to make the adjustment catch. It was a contested catch. I saw it go up. I saw the number 1, and I had doubts, I have to say. And then he reeled it in. It was awesome. It was so good to see that. And then after that, Quentin Johnston, his second touchdown, wide open in the end zone. Not a deep ball whatsoever, but definitely a ball that he could have dropped last year. Definitely like, hey, I'm wide open. I can catch it. Bounce off your chest. And then all of a sudden we lose to Green Bay. Not off his chest, but still. He showed up. His confidence is growing. It's awesome to see. Jim Harbaugh has the utmost belief in him. Justin Herbert has the utmost belief in him, and is starting to see that Q is starting to believe in himself a little bit more too.
Well, and he got a game ball. I saw.
He got a game ball. Awesome. Absolutely. Oh, like that was a big question in the offseason. Obviously the wide receiver room, what's going to happen there. But what was the pecking order? Joshua Palmer was WR1 in many people's minds. He barely showed up in the game. What was his stat here? 2 catches for 19 yards. He was not out there. He's not making his presence felt. Ladd McConkey, only 2 catches, 26 yards there. But I saw him on the field quite a bit more than I did Joshua Palmer. Quentin Johnston, they seem to want to get him the ball, get him in space, get the yak. He's that extension of the run game, which, hey, absolutely. Let's get it done. But when you look at the overall game, time of possession. Now, this is what's going to be very important when we play those high caliber, high octane offenses, aka KC Chiefs, in 2 weeks. 36 minutes to nearly 24 minutes for the Chargers.
That's a lot.
Huge. 65 offensive plays to their 46. We over doubled them in offensive yards with 349 to 159. Like, you go down, they had 9 penalties to the 3. Like, we absolutely beat them in every aspect. So when we look back at our look aheads when it was Chargers and Panthers last week, and how we quantify, and I gave it was a 10 out of 10 for the Chargers over the Panthers, it makes sense. It absolutely does. The turnover battle they won, though. The turnover battle they won. There's one
Which is
play.
wild.
Well, yeah, wild that they did that. But like I said, Justin had that ill-advised throw, but the fumble, it came. He's had 2 of these. This is a second play. It didn't work out in the favor, where he is having this Mahomes-like magic, where it like, holy, this play is done. I'm falling on my butt. And I'm going to get it. Oh, I see somebody that can catch the ball. I'm going to make it happen. And he's being smart in a sense. And I truly trust that he's making the right decision. It's just unfortunate things happen. So in this case, he sees Gus Edwards in the flat to the left, and he tries to throw, but the pocket had been compromised. He's trying to pull up, and everything is just collapsing in on him. And he's getting dragged down, and he last second sees Gus, and he tries to throw, but I guess before he actually throws, they hit his hand, and they called it a fumble. But those are the turnovers, and they're not Will Levis type turnovers, so I'm okay. I'm okay with that.
His are bad, but he's also doing that same thing where he's trying, but he's trying too hard.
Yeah. He's like he sees all the shiny toys out there, and it should make sense. But no, it was incredible. Then you look at the defense. Only 3 points let up. I get the Panthers are the Panthers, but they took care of business when they should, as they should, and this will only build confidence for the rest of the seasons. 2 more weeks till you get that coveted bye. Unfortunately, early this season for the Chargers, but 2 more weeks. If you can get that confidence built up, get some rest, do some work, make some adjustments, holy, like the league is noticing, the media is noticing the Chargers right now, and a lot of people, contenders, pretenders. We've done segments like that before. They're a contender. They're absolutely a contender. We are a top of the AFC West after 2 weeks. We are beating the Kansas City Chiefs, even though we have a tie record, and that's probably point differential plus other things leading to that. We are tied for 11th for points scored. Okay, not too bad. Points allowed, we're first. We've only allowed 13 points in the 2 weeks, which is huge for us. We are 5th overall rated team, and this is all according to PFF. Offense, only 22nd. Defense, 1st. Special teams, 13th. This team is getting coached like they've never been coached before, and it's great to see. A lot of people want to see the flashy plays, the big plays. I don't. I like this. I want to watch this. I want to see the grind. I want to see the ugly wins, because at the end of the day, they are wins, and that's what's most important. Mm-hmm. It really is. It's great to see. You look at some of the highlights of the team. Deion Henley, 2nd-year linebacker there. He had a 90.5 grade. He was 4th overall in linebackers. 90.5 is 4th overall. That's absolutely insane. Joe Alt and Rashawn Slater, top 2 rated offensive tackles for week 2 in the entire NFL. pretty amazing. But then you look at the top 5 for the Chargers as a whole in week 2, 92.5 to Elijah Molden, safety that we brought in, used to be on the Tennessee Titans. Got a sweet pick on Bryce Young. He read the play like a book. Deion Henley, the aforementioned, 90.5. Christian Fulton, also coming from via the Tennessee Titans. Our cornerback 1 now, number 7, making plays out there, 87.9. Joe Alt with an 87.2, and our boy Zion Johnson, another first-round pick, left guard, and he is rounding that out at 85.8. It was an absolute dog of the game. The offensive line showed up. Justin Herbert made some mistakes, but he was efficient when it counted. You get the wide receivers in there, some players that we never thought, we're going to be something. I had doubts, but now Q is brushing off those bust labels. Ladd is only developing more. Our tight ends need some work there, but we've got that offense starting to click, and we're going to start to see what that offense is made up in the next 2 weeks. But our defense already after 2 weeks looking like one of the best units in the league. Jesse Minter is he's coaching them like we haven't seen on defense in quite some time, and it's refreshing to see. It's nice to see you make these short yardage stops. It's nice to see how aggressive all the plays, like every throw, we saw a man on man. If not already, immediately, it was bang, bang the whole game. I don't care if it's the Carolina Panthers. They're all NFL players. And if you can get there, again, it's about getting out there, building confidence, and having fun. And the Chargers are doing that. It's great. And next week, we go to the Pittsburgh Steelers. We find out what the team truly is made for. 2-0, baby. 2-0. I don't know which way I need to go, but let's build on that. That's right. That's right.
No, the other way.
That's right.
That way. 2-0.
2-0. 2-0. Let's get to it. Another week in Pittsburgh, and you guys are in
Minnesota.
In Minnesota. Texans travel to you. CJ Stroud and your old friend in Stephon Diggs. Old friend in Danielle Hunter.
Yep.
Jonathan Greenard, though. Ooh, storylines. Let's get into that soon. But if you are with us, thank you so much. We do appreciate it. Let's go 2-0, baby. Please subscribe to the channel. Like the video, hit the notification bell, as it does help us out greatly, and it lets us know. Big fans of the Chargers and Vikings, the NFL, just like Brandon and I. Thank you. Brandon, send us off.
Everybody, good week. 2-0, like we said. It's all uphill from here. Oh, boom! Skol Bolts, everybody.
Skol Bolts.
And have a good week.